Oh, I just farted. Oh, my stomach. Oh, I'm just kidding. Had to make him laugh. Hey guys, we got another Doom Fools podcast. We have probably one of the best CDH players on the planet. We got comedian. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. I was trying to make you laugh before the pod. I thought it was hilarious. Ian might have farted, guys. I know.
You know me,
Show
man.
him in the
Yeah.
comments. Ian farts. Tell him. I'm telling you. What's going on, man? Oh, man. Shit. It's a fucking day. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but today's the day they did the ban list. You're not going to hear this for probably another month. But we're both like, fuck, right? But it's all good.
Yeah, a little zombie brain
We're
right
here.
now. Yeah.
We're at it, man. So how the fuck did you get into Magic, dude? I am so curious.
Yeah. So getting into Magic was funny. I was a camp counselor. It was like my first year of college, and just literally one of the counselors had like a vintage power level cube or maybe like Legacy.
Okay.
And
just dive right in.
We were just like, okay. Yeah. And so like we would like draft it on the weekends and stuff like that, and we were just having a good time with it. And I was like, this Magic game's pretty fun. And then sort of all downhill from there. And that went my first several paychecks.
When was this? Was this like before?
2014.
Oh,
so
10
a decade
years
ago at this point.
Oh, okay. I assumed you got like with your Pokemon tattoos. I thought it was like Pokemon and the Yu-Gi-Oh and the Magic. You just
yeah, I touched base on all of it for sure.
I got you. What made you get into CDH? Where you just like?
There was there was two local game stores I was going to. One was in one town, one was in another town, and they sort of simultaneously, like, one of them was like people who were like Legacy Modern old heads of Magic, and so they always played like very high power Commander, right? And so like I was wanting to always kind of play with them because I like those people. I thought they were really good players, like all that kind of stuff, but I never like got into that point. And then I was playing Mono Blue Wizards with a casual table I was at, and one dude had Najeela, and this was like right when Najeela got good, right? Like, or was printed, and people didn't realize that like it was busted, right? So he was like playing it in these pods, and I was the only one who was like stopping him from comboing off. So I was just playing, like, bouncing his stuff at the right time, interacting at the right time on the stack, all that kind of stuff, right? And yeah, mono blue stuff. And he was like, dog, you can hang with like higher power stuff. You should come play CEDH with us sometime. Like, I'm converting this to CEDH. Like, we're having a group that does that. And I was like, sure, fuck it, right? Like, and then obviously there were some people there who were like a little bit like, you know, like annoying about CEDH. And so I was like, dog, I'm gonna sleeve up Fibblethip. I'm gonna like clown on some of these people taking it too seriously, and then just like have a great time. And I think I won my like first game on Fibblethip, and I was like, no one can like, nothing's better than this moment.
Doesn't he have a combo? I want to say.
Yeah, so you Proteus staff him, and then the way Proteus staff works is that like it stacks your entire deck. So you make like 100 card mono blue Doomsday pile. But then like the backup line was like Paradox Engine, and that was awkward when that got banned. And so I was like, I can only win with Isochron's up.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh,
that's it was for sure deep Garbo. Like,
all right, that was gonna be my first like big question. Was like, have you always played Fringe decks? Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh yeah,
you're like,
even in 60 card, dude. I was
when you're playing like, Blue Farm, you're like, ew, what are these good cards doing in my hand?
Dude, I love that I have the stat of I've brought Blue Farm to one tournament, walked away with the Time Twister, and I've never played it in an event since.
never will. You hear?
Just full drop the ankle weights on that one.
Yeah, I just love when people are like, Blue Farm's not the best deck, it's the most played deck. Guys, the best player statistically took it to a tournament and fucking smacked. I think you went like 7-0-1 or something. Like, guys.
No, it wasn't that crazy. It was like 5-2, but yeah.
I just want a casual Time Twister. You're too humble, dog. I want you on this podcast. You have to just put your dick on the table. I'm the best. Dude, what? No, I'm playing.
It's so funny. Like, people have been trying to get me to trash talk for like years, and it's not the person I am. It's not my vibe. And it's fine.
Like, if anybody's me.
I like respect the hustle. I think it's funny as hell when people do it. I just like, I'm the kind of person who goes like, I'll do it bad one time, and then no one will ever talk to me again because they assume I'm like, I already kind of sound condescending. I know this about myself, and I'm like, I can't trash talk. It's people are gonna believe I'm a dick. Like,
oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna play a pod with you, and I'm just gonna fucking just poke and poke and poke. I'm like, come on, trash can. Winota sucks. Come on, pussy. And you're gonna be like, you know what, bro, got him. Ian's a shit talker. Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ups and downs, right? Like I've seen you at your best, and
Yeah.
I've seen you like I think the 5K in Tampa. I just see you across the way, and I'm already out of the tournament. I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
you across the way, and your face is just red. And then you saw me, you
Yeah.
walked towards me, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" And you're like, "God just killed me. He said he wouldn't kill me. Fuck." I was just like, so my next
Dude.
question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
does that play a part? Like just
Mhm.
asking, obviously, does that play a part in you playing? Is hey, that's comedian over there. Let's stop him.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is that probably why you don't play Winota and like decks like that? Because they're already gonna counter and remove the Winota, but like Ian on
Right,
Winota,
right.
is that like real? Do you think it's like a 50-50 thing? Because you still
Mhm.
do like top four almost every tournament, it feels like, or top 16 every tournament. So like, is that just a huge hill you have to climb? You have to build your
It
decks
depends
because
on
of
the
that
pod.
reason?
Yeah, yeah, no, and I've had good players who have literally like sat in my pods and like, I'm yeah, like I've had situations where like to my face and like also when I've gotten up and used the bathroom have been like, yo, don't listen to this guy, right? Like just like absolutely like laid that out on the table before anything
Jesus
happens. Is like
Christ.
in even if I'm making like a logical argument, which is like, by the way, if you think I'm mind controlling people, it's like, no, I'm presenting a logical argument and they're choosing to accept or not accept that logical argument, right? But like I've literally thrown that out there to people and they've been like, no, we talked and we're not gonna let you do anything. And I'm like, cool, like I guess I lose this game.
Oh, that's
Like,
gotta
and
be
it's okay if that
frustrating.
happens, right? Like my whole thing is like I am going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to play well. I'm going to try my best to politic in a way that I think is fulfilling like my best possible ways, and if that doesn't work, it's okay. Like at the end of the day, I'm going to try my best and I'm going to be happy with my best, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure, for sure. Well, you've put in the 5,000 hours, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
for
you
sure at
do
this
this
point.
for a
Yeah,
fucking living. Like you know what you're
yeah,
talking about. And I mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day, too, like politics is something, but it's not just
Mhm.
Ian and Freedom Waffle and Wounded. They're good at politics. No, they're pretty good. They know what's going on at all times. They know what your deck does before
Mhm.
you do. That you don't just accidentally or
Mhm.
luckily win a tournament
Oh
like
yeah.
that, right?
Dude, I tell people all the time, like, I don't think I'm brilliant. I think I'm studied and I think I've done a lot of research, right?
Mhm.
Like there are things that I know I have skills at, but like I don't think I'm like the smartest player in the room most of the time. Like I just know this and I know what I'm talking about and I'm really passionate about this
Okay.
game. And yeah, I think my political game's not bad, but like
Mhm.
I think that there is a lot of there's a lot that most people can do to like take that next step, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the moment I start assuming I'm the smartest person
Mhm.
in the room, I become the dumbest person in the room. You know what
Is
I
it
mean?
maybe you're like a jack of all trades, master of none, where like
I think
you're
that's
good at
exactly
like
it. Yeah.
15 different things, but you're not great at one specific thing. Like you're good at politics, you're good at table assessment, you're good at this, you're good at knowing the meta. Is that
Yeah.
probably what it is?
And the thing is too, man, like I am never afraid to be wrong. And I think that is a something that has helped me a ton.
Mm,
Because there's so many people who play CEDH who
mhm.
like, and I don't want to say so many, this sounds like kind of negative, but like there's a decent amount of people who are like, I know my opinion on this thing.
Mhm.
I am right about this thing. I am going to disagree vehemently with people who are wrong about this thing because I know I'm right and I know they're wrong. And it's
Oof.
like to me, that comes to me as just like pure arrogance, where I
Yeah,
think like
yeah.
the amount of times I listen to people and their opinions who I vehemently disagree with because I want to understand why
Good
they
to
think that
listen.
way, right?
Yeah.
And I listen to people like back when like for example there was like the Into the North podcast was still going and the Miscast podcast was still like very frequently,
Yeah.
right? Like Drake and Mikey's podcast, which was very turbo focused,
I
very
just did one
much
with
the
Drake.
Adnod style
I just
player.
did a podcast with Drake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
oh
he's
nice,
cool. Good guy.
nice. And so like then I would go listen to the people who were like the grindy mid-range Tim Thrasios players, right? And I would listen to all of them and I would take all of their
Mhm.
opinions and I'd be like, oh, okay, so they disagree on the conclusion, but both of them are saying this solution because of the same problem. It's like, okay, now I can pick up what they're taking in from that,
Mm.
right? But
It's
genuinely,
kind of like
like
life. Yeah.
I learned every single deck in CEDH because I was curious. You know what I mean? I became a student of the game, and not because I was like, I have to sit down and do my homework, but I was like, yo, what does that deck do? Sick. Yo, what does that deck do? Sick. And then I was just like, eventually it just became a database of like, oh yeah, now I can sit against this weird fringe deck and be like, oh, well, I remember when that came out. Like you're playing it because of like this, and this thing, which is a very bad synergy. But
Mhm.
like if we don't pay attention to it, boom, you're gonna get us. And people are like, yeah, no one has ever known what this deck does. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like stuff like that kind of helps you like at least like have that foundation,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think that mixed with, you are grinding, right? You are playing every weekend and you're
Hmm.
there. Like
Yeah.
that's why I kind of understand with everything. I'm like, how come no one's listening to Eden about the Orcish Bowmaster ban? Like that it's maybe not the most powerful card, but that it's probably one of the most bannable cards, but
I
whatever.
can go on a 40-minute rant about why like every single counter offer or argument that people have provided of like why a different card needs to go first. I've then been able to
Mhm,
explain why banning Bowmasters would open up the counter play to like the Ristic Study example,
mhm.
right? People bring up the like Ristic Study so free, all of that stuff, and I was like, you remember what used to be the best counter to Ristic Study? It was a fun little card called Notion Thief. Huh? Why don't people play
I play
Notion
it.
Thief anymore? Is it
Yeah.
because I don't know. Is it because a little orc comes in and pings your 3/1? Is that why?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that dude, that's so funny. And with the bands today, Dockside, Nadu,
Yeah.
Mana Crypt, and
Yep. Jewel
Jewel
Lotus. Yep.
Lotus. I don't really want to talk about it, but I just want to just a little notion is like, okay, Jewel Lotus is like, okay, all right, Jewel Lotus, whatever. That's fine. Does it
Yeah.
get banned? Is it a better card than fucking Ristic Study and Orcish? Like that's my argument. Like it's
Mm,
probably not. But again, it's
sure.
whatever. We're not just because we don't sleep at night and we get mad and we have to take cold showers for a couple days. It's okay, guys. It's okay. We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
We're gonna sell our mana crypts. We're gonna cry about Dockside. It's okay, and we're gonna move forward, right? And but I digress. I'm totally with you. Orcish, fuck that guy. But anyways, so this podcast is mainly about getting casual or regular commander players into CDH. And then the
Yeah.
next level of CDH players that play like Spell Table and play with their friend groups and getting them to play tournaments, right? That's why
Yeah.
I'm glad I have you on. So tell me about maybe the exact level up moment you got. And
Yeah.
then I vaguely remember, we talked a little off air, but I vaguely remember you going, yeah, I'm pushing. I just can't get over that hump. I'm top 16. And then you won with Tivit.
Hmm.
And I feel like the second you won with Tivit, just my mind goes to you top 16 and winning almost every tournament after that. So can you tell us
Yeah.
kind of maybe give us like a tidbit of, hey guys, this is what I used to do. This is what I do now. This is what because me personally, I'm not
Yeah.
top 16 at all, but I'm doing my research. I need to play more, obviously. I don't go to as many
Hmm.
tournaments as you do, but I still feel like
Yeah.
if you went to a tournament a month, you'd be fine, right? So can you tell us maybe that
Mhm.
level up moment for yourself?
Yeah. So like I don't think there is something I can like it's not like I drank the magic elixir and then my brain levels were unlocked
This
and
is
it
what
was
it
like the
seems
limitless
like.
pill,
Yeah.
right?
Popeye with the spinach.
uh yeah, right. No, I mean, but realistically it was the 10,000 hours during COVID, right? Like I for a while was I mean my deck was Dawnmaker Thrasios, right? Like and when I brewed that up and when I took a version of what the evolution deck was at the time, which was this is the Thrasios for the Jarl. Zerda got printed in Ikoria, and then it was like, okay, like here's this deck that I really care
Mm,
about. And then I played so many games on that deck. And I think I ended the ranked season, the ranked season of the CEDH Nexus during that
mm.
time. And I think I had close to 100 games of just ranked, like not
Oh,
casual
wow.
games, but in that month 100 ranked games, and I think I had more wins and a higher win percentage than any season at that point because I devoted myself to this
100
deck and I
games in a
played the
month?
shit out of it because I loved it. Like it was a passion project.
Holy shit, that's a lot of
um
games.
yeah, I mean, it was during lockdown. I had literally nothing to do except for play
Oh,
games of
okay.
CDH and then go on a podcast and record things about CDH, right? Like,
I guess, yeah, I guess you can't work.
yeah, and so like I was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I literally cannot leave my house, so I guess I'm gonna do this thing.
Mhm.
And so like that set me up for success, right? But then it didn't give me everything. Like that wasn't all the tools I needed, but I do think like there are aspects and things out there that can allow you to just, as I said, absorb as much knowledge as possible,
Mhm.
right? I do think, listening to different podcasts talk about decks and watching different shows talk about decks and seeing what's doing well and all those things, it takes time to like really have a hand on the ball, right?
Mhm.
For a while, and this has been me for my entire life. I've always been way better at coaching than I am at doing, right? Like whenever I go rock climbing with my friends, the people who can climb way better than me, I'm still like, dude, I think if you like move your foot out to the left and like kick your body back like that, you can grab the thing. And they're like, bro, you can't
Your
do
body
this.
your
Like, why are
body
you
doesn't do that, but
like?
your mind does it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right. It's like I can the puzzle I've always been able to figure out better, right? And like so for a while
Yeah.
there, it was like building up those muscles, right? I didn't have that stuff, but I was
Mm.
always able to like kind of see what was happening, right? But I think it really is. I mean, CEDH is two things,
Mhm.
right? To its very nature, it's a format about
Yep.
adaptation, and it's a format about threat assessment. You have to be willing to one, I mean, yeah, threat assessment, let's talk about. There's always a problem at the table, and you have two
Mhm.
relationships that are always based on the fact that one problem still exists,
Mhm.
right? And every time it is always four different games of three versus one,
Yeah.
right? So when you get comfortable understanding where you are in relation to this dynamic and this dynamic and this dynamic, then you really start to get the full grasp of everything, right?
Mhm.
The other part of that then becomes okay, this adaptation, right? In CEDH, you have to be ready to take the rule book and throw it in the dumpster. I cannot tell you how many times I've been like, okay, this person is relying on a truism, right? Like, always attack the ad nos player. But in this situation, it's wrong because the game has changed, right?
Mm.
But they rely on that truism while they're still learning, which is
Mm.
okay. You can learn in those and
Like,
get
don't
those
counter the
adaptations into
tutor,
yourself
stuff like that.
pretty
Yeah.
right. But everything like the real subtlety in CEDH is being willing to take the rule book and just light it on
Okay.
fire, to make bad plays in favor of political favor, to be able to make suboptimal plays that in a vacuum are objectively the incorrect thing to do, right? If I have the ability to go for a win on my turn,
Mhm.
but I can suss out that one of my opponents might have a piece of interaction, in a vacuum, it would be objectively incorrect to not go for a win
Right.
condition. But I'm reading the table and I'm picking up the fact that if I go for that win condition, it will be stopped. So I'm going to now make the suboptimal
Mhm.
play, the bad
Mhm.
play, in favor of it being a better play. And I think getting over that hump is a big thing for a lot of CEDH players.
Mm. Okay, yeah, because like a lot of it's like, okay, here, going to the boil, going to whatever, 200, 300 person tournament, first round. You sit down,
Yeah.
everyone's like, hey, how you doing? What's up, buddy? And I'm like, I don't want
Yeah.
to be a dick, but I'm like, oh, I'm going third, and that's Rockside, and that's Blue Farm, and that's this saying, how do I
Yeah.
mulligan? What do I do? Before I even look at cards, I'm stressing the fuck out, right? I have all these different things that I'm
Yeah.
trying to mulligan, and they're talking about their mother and their aunt, and what are we doing? Are we eating dinner? And I'm over here like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. And I'm just trying to like overanalyze and figure all that out.
Yeah.
You make it look so easy. I want to talk about I believe last November at CCS. It's where I meet you. I don't remember what event it
Mhm.
was, but I met
It was
last November.
Top Deck Expo
Expo,
is the
yep,
name of it,
there it
right?
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and we both didn't do get that good in the main
yeah.
tournament.
I lost my winning
Yeah, and
in.
then oh,
Yeah,
you were pissed. I was like, "What?" I was gonna say what's up to you because I haven't really officially met you, and then like
yeah,
red, and you're like, and I wrote you on Discord that night, and you're like, "Yeah, man, that was a bad last game," and I'm like, "I'll talk to you tomorrow, dog."
yeah. In my defense, the player had literally made a play. We were like, "Why'd you do that?" And he was like, "I don't know, man. I was kind of tired for like all of our win-ins." And we were
Oh,
like,
and you remember it a
"Okay,
year later. Like that's how bad it is. You're just like,
yeah." Well, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm never gonna fault anybody for having different priorities, right? But like two people who were like there to compete at the highest level, it like sucks when that's someone's higher priority than the competition for thousands of dollars on
well,
the
let's just
line,
talk about the 5K. You and Wounded were in the
Yeah,
top four. And then the guy passed because he thought Wounded had interaction and he didn't. And then
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
fucking Mix and Boo guy won, and y'all were just like,
yeah, yeah,
we lose here? That just happened. That
yeah,
just happened. The two
yeah,
best
yeah.
players in the world just lost because someone didn't say anything about the interaction. And you're just like, all right, Lou, let's go to
That's
Disney World.
EDH. Yeah,
Like, all right, thanks for wasting my time, pal.
nah. I mean, the I think that was also a big level up moment for me in CEDH. Was like I think when this became my job, I think there was a period of time where I could tell I wasn't playing my best because I was scared of not paying the bills, um,
Yeah,
and
right.
and so like there is a level of
Mhm.
variance in CEDH where I think you have to be okay with just being like, well, that sucked. All right, man. Like I'm gonna keep showing up and I'm gonna keep trying my best. And if this isn't my tournament, the next one might
It's
be.
it's an actual
You know?
grind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah, there was literally like a month earlier this year where I like double scrubbed out in a row, and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm a fog, like
Uh-oh.
a fake, all that kind of
All
stuff," right?
right. Who's gonna
Because
feed my
I do that
kitties?
shit all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah, but you know what? I showed up to the next one, and I said, "The only thing that matters is the game I'm about to play right now." And then the round after that, I said the same thing, and the round after that, I said the same thing, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, look, I top 4 this next tournament." Hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is
Like the
just a matter of
Invitational.
tempo.
Dude, you're like 1
Yeah.
in 3 or 1 in 4, and then
Yep.
you
1 4.
won, top 16 you won, and then top 4, and it was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, how's Ian doing? Oh, he's not doing that good. Okay. What's he on? Oh, he's on Ken. Okay." 2 hours later, "How's Ian doing? Yeah, he's not doing that good. How's Ian doing? Oh, yeah, he's in the top 4." What the fuck? What? And then I watched that last game,
Yeah.
and you literally said it. You're like, "Nah, nothing I can do. You got me." Turn
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time twister orcish.
Yeah. Man, I multed to that game. The fact
I
that I
could,
had 7 cards to look at one point, I was like, "Wow, I got lucky." And then we died anyways, and I was like, "All right."
yeah, yeah, I got you.
You know? I was able to put a win attempt on the stack in a game where I multed too. I was counting my
Yeah,
blessings,
you
you know what
had
I
water
mean?
your cake
Like,
out. Blue Farm just had everything
yeah.
in
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah. Bailey cooked us for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is what it is. But I do want to talk about,
Yeah,
so two
yeah.
things I want to talk about is
Yeah.
how, just you, for example, right? You're a really cool guy. You're outgoing. You're cool. When I played with Ian on the Redemption tournament in November. So I was trying to talk
Mhm.
about earlier. Get down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ian. I'm a patron. What's up, man? Huge fan. How you doing? How's the kids? Yada yada yada. Everything's cool. And then it goes pre games, and there was a fucking light bulb. You weren't smiling no more. You were fucking into it, and the other two players were fucking intense. This is round 2 of a redemption tournament,
Mhm.
guys. We're playing for like $100, and it was like the most competitive fucking vibe I've ever gotten, and it was intense, and I fucking loved it. I was like, holy shit. I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, this, and I actually, spoiler, I won that game. I don't know how I won. I'm 1-0 against Ian. I don't know how I did it. But I was just doing the Crom Tevish thing, and I was drawing cards, and Ian fucking scoped it out. I put a fucking Adnaz on the stack in response to a Void Winnower, and he's like, I fucking knew it, because the guy like killed Ian Dragavan or something, and Ian's like, I fucking knew it. Y'all didn't see that coming. I saw that coming, and I was like, damn it. So then I countered that, and I did something else, and then I got a Chain of Vapor. That was my only interaction. Oh no! I had Adnaz's response to Trinisphere. Void Winnower was already flipped into. I force of willed the Trinisphere, and then I had to tutor for a Chain of Vapor. And then Ian was like, hey guys, I know this is gonna fucking suck, but let's pick all our stuff up so Dockside's not crazy. Dockside was like for 1. And he almost
Mhm.
got me. I think I barely got it. I had to tap out for something I had to resolve, and then like that was the only way. But the second the game was done, it was like I was like, hey guys, I did the breach thing. I'm gonna breach into Ithorical. Everyone good to scoop. And then for 3 seconds, it was like, yeah, I'm good, man. Good game. And I was just like, who's that guy? Where did I feel like you just put him back in the closet, back
Yeah.
here. That shit was, it was such a, I tell everybody that wants to listen, I tell them, hey, the best player in the world. It was really cool. He fucking played his spells. He did the thing. He was on the priority. He was knowing what I was doing. He didn't miss any triggers. He told the table, hey, this is what's going on. And then the second I won, he was like, yeah, man, good game. See you later. Thanks for being a patron, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's the fucking difference of I'm here to cut your fucking head off, but let's eat dinner later. Right. And that's kind of,
Yeah,
I don't know if
and there are
people can do
even
that.
some yeah, there are even some games, like, I know that game, like, I think that was actually, like, I would argue maybe even more intense than I normally am.
For no reason.
But,
I'm like,
like
bro, give me the $100. Just chill. You weren't like being a dick, but you were like in it.
yeah.
Like you could tell you were there to win. Right.
Sure, sure, and like that's the thing is like I think that like one of my favorite games of all time was the top 4 from Oktoberfest in I think 2022,
Yeah.
and I remember specifically it was like me, it was Koval, a really nice guy on Blue Farm, and a really nice guy who was on Timna Thrasios, and like uh literally the judges and the TOs were getting such whiplash because it would be like Koval with his dry humor, and then me making a stupid like, oh, my upside down card's a Yu-Gi-Oh card joke, and they'd be laughing their ass
The
off, and then
judges
a
are
spell would go
laughing.
on the stack, and all of us would just be like, all right, yeah, we'll pass on that, and then do this, and then it would like have a dull moment. We'd be like back to just like dad jokes for 20 minutes,
And then
and then
time
like,
points.
but would still, as soon as anything needed to happen, we were like, oh yeah, yeah, we're gonna pass on that right now. Like, just the full, haha, what,
Yeah. My
like
card's a
full up
man
and
eater
down,
bug.
man.
Fast Oracle. Nah, man, I'm gonna counter
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, so man eater bug. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
That's so funny. Yeah, my
exactly.
first coaching session with you, I was like, "Hey man, like how do I do this and how do I do that?" You're like, "Hey man, I just played a top four where we're fucking around most of the time, but
Yep.
then you have to be like, "Hey guys, look at my hand. I don't have
Yep.
anything, yada yada yada." Then you politic and then you go back to bullshitting. But for me, like me and my buddies, right? We're in a van, we were in a B and
Yeah.
B. It's like $100 each. Like we're gonna have a good time. There's like 7 of us going to the boil too, right? And everyone's like
Yeah.
happy go lucky, and we're gonna play in the van and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna stay up all night and play Magic. And I'm like, guys, I'm there to win the tournament and then I'm there to have fun. Right. So my personality, I can't do that. I can't have fun and do that, but everyone's happy. I feel like a dick, right? We can have fun after the tournament, but like, how do you do that? How do you go? So that's a relevant question. So my next question was, what made you decide to do this full time? Because I believe you're the first person to do coaching. Was it just that lucrative where you're like, hey, this is just smart to do? Was that always the end goal, is to be a tournament grinder?
So no, not at all. Like I started making content because I just really was passionate about the format and I wanted to teach people, right?
Mm,
And I think that like you can put that at the core of everything I do moving forward,
mm.
right? Like is that I really love this format and I want to see it thrive. I want to see it
Me too.
succeed. I coach for a living because it's allowing me to do that thing that drives
Mhm.
me while also allowing me to live and focus on this more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if there was a world where I did not have to pay my bills, I would still coach CEDH. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I would do this channel and coach CEDH and go to tournaments no matter what,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's an interesting part of this, right?
Mhm.
Like it's also like the only time I started caring about accolades, right?
Yeah.
Was when it started being a thing for me to be like, okay, this is why you give me money, I guess. Like,
God damn it. I hate when you make me
I,
pop. Fuck.
the
I'm going to spit out my
consistent
drink.
it's the consistent theme of me being really bad about like hyping myself up at
You
all.
almost admitted you're a
And
good player. Oh, we almost got there, guys. We almost.
I almost
I'm the
almost,
GOAT.
but it's like I literally only started doing coaching because of Ken Bauman. I thank him all the time for this. He was literally like, "Hi, Ian. I would like you to help me with this thing, and I would like to pay you for your time because I think at the time, I mean, tournaments were not nearly what they were. He was like, I'm pretty sure you had the best record of the entire world last year, so like, I would like to pay you money for your time." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah, because you're like, no,
Like,
man, I'm not going to charge you. But he's like, no, no,
yeah,
no. I want an hour devoted of your time. And you're like,
yeah, yeah.
nah, I'm good, man. I'll pay you. All right.
And at the time, once again, I mean, I was working a full time
Yeah.
job. I was content creation, so on top of that, I'm working another 20 plus hours. I was doing my own editing at the time,
Mm.
and then I was also like, now people were like, "Hey, we are okay with this thing that you do, and we would like to pay for your services." And I did not think it would be a job, right? But then I hit this point where I was basically working 80-hour weeks,
Oh,
where I had messages and messages and messages of people being like, "Yo, dog, let me get coached by you." And I was like, I keep having to
I
say
don't have
no
time.
because of my real
Right.
job at the
Right.
time, right? And I'm like, we hit this nexus of like, I would rather be following my dreams and trying to do something I love for a
For
living, right?
reality.
Um,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, I was still very passionate about my full time job. I was in childcare. It was a very very fulfilling job on certain levels, but also on other levels, it was like, here's this channel that I devoted all my time to, all my energy to, and this thing where I can continue to follow that passion of like, hey, I really love this game. I really love what it does for people. I love seeing what happens at the highest
Mm.
levels, and now I can do it every day if I want to. And so
Mm.
that was the sell for me for sure.
Was that maybe another level up moment too? Because about the time you started topping all the tournaments is about the time you started doing it for a living, right? Because you can go to a tournament every
um,
weekend, right? Because before you couldn't, right? Because the time. Maybe.
Sure, sure. So I know, I mean, I was devoting a lot of time to CEDH, even when I was working a full time job, right? Like
Okay.
all my vacations were traveling to events
Well,
and
I
stuff
guess
like
yeah. There's
that.
mock masters in
Yeah,
chaos too at the time too. Okay,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
that was a
yeah.
big thing because your first tournament was with
I
mock
think,
masters, I believe.
yeah, the Mox
Yeah,
Masters. Like by the time the Mox Masters, I mean, so
I
so
miss it.
when things were not Mox Masters level, right,
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
consistency. I still was doing pretty okay.
Good.
Like I had top 16 a couple tournaments in a row with Winota. Like there was very few tournaments where I was actually missing.
Oh,
I had a couple top cuts, but like these were small tournaments. The format wasn't anything what it was, and we didn't have tournaments nearly as regularly, right? So
what, two
like I
years
was
ago?
doing
Yeah,
okay, you know. I wasn't doing exceptional, and then yeah, Mox Masters happened. I started kind of finding my rhythm, and then things kind of picked up
it's
from
not
there.
even 2 years ago. Can you imagine what the format's going to be like in another 2 years?
Yeah, who's to say, man?
Dude.
Who's to say?
Well, yeah, nowadays, who the fuck, who would say? Jesus Christ. So that's interesting. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to pick your brain. My friends would kill me if I
yeah.
didn't. Let's talk about the meta a little bit. Not about the
Okay,
negative crap, not about the bullshit. I don't care about
sure,
none of that.
sure,
Let's
sure, sure.
talk about the
Yeah.
meta. As Ian Flannery, comedian, everyone knows you're famous. What is your take on the meta? Are we in a good place, especially going forward? Obviously, because today the banning.
Yeah,
Do you think obviously Cedh isn't dead, it's not on fire. Where
yeah.
do you think the meta is? Because even before this banning, it was maybe 4 or 5 top decks in tournaments, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
top deck, 4 or 5 decks, right? And then everybody
Yeah,
else. But you can still get like that fringe deck, right? Ian could fucking pick up a ham
sure.
sandwich and probably top, right? But where do you
Yeah.
think we go from here? And especially tournament play, like would you want
Yeah.
somebody to pick up a deck that no one really knows? Like I'm trying Zur right now. Zur's really good. I just
Mhm,
don't know if he's that next level. But I just don't want to
mhm.
be like, you know what, I'm gonna win the boil. I'm gonna take Rockside. I don't want to do that. I don't want the meta to be Blue Farm, Rockside, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
want the room for
Well, I mean, Blue Farm took a huge hit today. I think that's
really
the
that's
unsung.
I
Oh
wanted to
yeah,
ask you
I
about
think
that.
that
Yeah.
was one of the best Jewel Lotus decks out there, right? Like, I think this was actually the first negative thing to happen to Blue Farm in like 2 years.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the okay, no, that's definitely valid, but I feel like the
Mm.
only way to really hit it is get rid of risk study because now all for me, Blue Farm's just gonna adjust and then go from there. Sisay's dead, Kenris dead,
I
Corval's
disagree that
dead.
Sisay's dead.
No,
No, no, I think
all right,
Sisay's
let's
totally
talk
fine.
about it.
I think,
Really, I thought
yeah, yeah. I think
Dockside's the
Sisay's like tier 2 now, right? But like
it's not
the tapper strategies are totally fine.
okay.
Like,
It's
I
just
think
not the second
it is
best
a
deck, is what I mean.
yes, yes. I don't think like if we were to like say this is the block of good decks, I think Sisay is probably like right here, right? But like it's still a perfectly viable strategy. I've gotten a lot of questions about that today about whether people should even sleeve it up
Hmm.
anymore, and I don't think it's like dead in the water dead, but I do think obviously it
It's
took a
not like
big hit,
Corval
right?
dead.
Yeah, yeah,
I talked to
yes,
Eric today.
yes.
He's in a rough spot.
Yeah, man. Which I get it. Like there are
Yeah.
certain decks like Goto players, Corval players, Niv Mizzet a little bit. Like those are the decks I feel the worst
Gyruda.
for, right? Like I think, yeah.
I don't want to talk
Gyruda.
about it. I don't want to talk. I know no one gives a shit. I don't care. I literally have a stack full of clones right here, just sitting here. Just bye. See you later. Nah, nah, nah,
Good night,
nah.
sweet.
Can we have a moment of silence for Gyruda? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So okay, that's interesting. You think Blue Farm took a hit? I definitely think they took a hit, right? But everybody took a hit.
Yeah,
It's not like we're
I think
a
everybody did.
card
Yep.
for Blue Farm took a hit.
Yeah.
Everybody did, but I think Blue Farm's still here.
I think the biggest winner is like stack stacks,
Yeah,
honestly,
but
because
what
like
stacks decks? What deck is gonna be
yeah,
like,
well that's the
you know
question.
what? I'm here, bitches. Like,
But there's a whole new archetype now,
yeah,
right? Because like artifact and enchantment stacks weren't being played because Dockside would just
mhm.
absolutely blow them
Yeah,
out of
like
the water, right?
Sithis.
Now there's a
Yeah,
whole
no,
yeah, yeah,
I'm totally with you, but like
yeah,
Tivin and Atraxa, the first thing I'm like, fuck yeah, no Dockside, you're awesome, and then I'm like, oh wait, oh timeout, Jewel Lotus Mana Crypt.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
I think they're fine.
yeah, they're
Like
okay.
I
Yeah.
think yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Atraxa just looks different, right? Like Atraxa is the one deck I think I'm actually kind of excited about
Wow.
because it's yeah, because the biggest downside for Atraxa was like yeah, you lose Crypt and Jewel Lotus to cast
Huge.
Atraxa, but like casting Atraxa was the worst part of Atraxa for a really long time, right? Like
I'm making that
the
to a
best
short right
Atraxa
now.
play like Atraxa is the worst part of Atraxa, and I'm happy to die on that hill, right? It is happily like like a 4-color food chain outlet. And it's like
Your
sometimes
commander is the worst thing you can do in your commander deck.
it's the same shit with Tivit. I was like, the worst play pattern in Tivit
It's
is
Timmy.
casting Tivit. Like
No, it's not, because you have time seam. God damn it, Ian. I
I
hate
don't
you.
know, man. It's
The
fine.
worst thing about Atraxa is you play Atraxa. Why even play
I'm
the
telling
deck?
you, dude. Because it's a food chain outlet. That's
Oh, I
explicitly like
play
yeah,
first
it's 100%
at that
that.
point. Fuck.
I don't know, man.
That's so funny. Oh, I'm gonna clip that. My brother's a huge Atraxa fan. I just got him a PSA 10 slab for Atraxa, and he's just staring at
Hell
it.
yeah. No, I think that deck's totally fine. Like that's one of the decks I'm actually excited to fuck
All
around with
right,
after
all
this.
right. You
Yeah.
heard it here first, guys. Blue Farm's bad. Atraxa's
Yeah.
the best deck of the format. All right, cool.
Well, wait a minute.
You said it.
I don't know about that.
Just clip it where that's what you said.
Yeah.
Atraxa is the best deck. All right, I don't want to talk about this crap. You're gonna be talking about it all week. I don't care. So with the meta, with all that being said, you think we're in a good
Yeah.
spot?
Yeah.
You think we're gonna be okay?
I think we're fine. The CDH is fine. The format's not dead.
I agree.
Um, I think certain people are planting the flag. I guess as of 9/23/2024, which is when this is recording.
Mhm,
My intent is to play competitive Elder Dragon
mhm,
Highlander and play it as it is. Right, like
mhm.
I'm going to play CEDH. If a different format that is like CEDH wants to form and gives me a good enough reason to consider jumping ship, I will consider jumping ship, right? But until then, I will continue playing competitive Elder Dragon
I
Highlander.
yeah.
And they gave us like, yes, today might suck. Today might suck for Corville players. Today might suck for a lot of
I
players,
heard
and that's okay.
that. Mhm.
But it's also a completely new format
Yeah.
now, right? Like people were bitching about a shakeup. It might not be the shakeup you wanted, but you got
Holy
one.
shit! I don't even know. I have 6 decks and I'm gonna blow them all up, and I don't know what's going on. I love it, but I hate
Same.
it. But I'm totally with you. Like that's
Yeah.
what we needed.
Yeah.
I think right now is
Yeah.
really good, especially before the boil, right? The biggest tournament ever, yada yada yada. I feel like
Mhm.
now it's gonna test your brewing skills. Like, hey, like,
Yeah.
can anybody build a crazy deck like Zur, a crazy deck like
Yeah.
Winota on a
Yeah.
different axis than everybody else? Because everyone's
Yeah.
going to go, oh, oh, that's bad. I'm just going to play blue farm, right?
Yeah.
And so,
I
so
will
it's a
say
brewer's
the
advantage.
the biggest winner from the whole thing is Kinnan by far. If you think that there is a deck that basically came out, I think no, yeah, I'm pretty confident saying it's just Kinnan. Like you can, some people are arguing Rogside, but I do think losing Dockside was big. I do think losing Crypt was big for your storm
Mhm.
turns. Kinnan does not give a fuck.
Well, I think I
Like
don't think it affected that Kennen that much. You know what affected Kennen?
yeah.
Nadu. That's what affected because everybody wounded and everybody stopped playing Kennen because people were
Oh,
fucking
sure,
with
sure,
it
sure,
and then
sure.
played Nadu. And now guess who's gonna play fucking Kennen again? The best Kennen
Yeah,
pilots,
yeah,
right? And,
yeah,
you hello. I always told people I don't
yeah.
care what's the best
I
deck
mean,
in the
I
format.
was still playing Kinnan when quote Kinnan is bad.
Exactly.
So like, I don't know, man.
We're talking about that at the 5K. I don't care what y'all are
Yeah,
bringing. If I see Ian or Wounded on Kennen, that motherfucker is the
yeah.
problem. I don't care what y'all say. You can have 30 Orcish Bowmasters. It's the pilot. So now, fucking Wounded's about to wreck with Kennen. I don't know what your idea is for brewing or whatever is in the future now. I don't even. I don't
Yeah,
even
like
have one. I don't even know because I'm a brewer at heart. I'm like you, bro. I can brew
yeah.
every night. I fuck with my Moxfield probably an hour before I go to bed. It's like a ritual. Kiss the babies, play with Moxfield, smack
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wife
yeah.
on the ass. Right? That's what I do
No,
in that
I feel
order.
that. I feel
But
that.
I digress. That's dude. I'm super excited. I wish it didn't happen today. I wish it could be tomorrow because I was like, oh, I have 3 pages of questions for Ian, and then this happened, and I wrote Ian on Discord. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey man, if you don't want to do this, I understand. And you're just like, hey man, sorry, it's 6 hours later, but my DMs, and I'm like, I understand, I get it, woosah, and you're like, let's still do it, and I was like, okay, cool. Oh
Yeah.
shit. So the last thing I want to talk about, okay, we have time. The last thing I want to talk about is brewing. So I
Mhm.
think that's probably your strong point. Well, besides playing, I feel like with my experience, people don't brew like they used to. People go, "Ooh, I'm gonna grab this list and put my special cards in it, and then play the deck." And I feel like, hey, instead of Winota's just dead or this deck's just dead, Thrasios Bruce or whatever it is, they just stop playing the deck and then pick something else. But someone like you is like, hey, I'm still fucking with it. I'm still playing with it. Yeah, it's not good right now. So I'd love to talk about what makes a good brewer and is there any advice you can give somebody because they don't have the experience like you, right? They don't know what works,
Yeah.
what work. Like, what's your kind of mindset when you brew, and how can you become a better brewer?
Yeah, so brewing is tough, right? Like I'm gonna throw this out there. I have been brewing in Magic for 10 years, right?
Mhm.
Like before I even touched CEDH, I was brewing in 60 card. I was messing around with stuff, right? Like it is a part of the process. The biggest thing I think with brewing is a lot of what I mentioned earlier, which is like becoming a student in the game and removing ego. I think that's a really big part of it too,
Mm.
because people take their brews and they're willing to be like, I want to brew, I want to be the person with the brew, I want to take my brew and I want my brew to be the best deck.
Yeah.
And I think if you want all of those things, you're setting yourself up for failure. I think
Okay.
the mission can be different, right? And this is more like I like to brew because I like to do unique things and I like to push the envelope on what is acceptable in the space. But to do that, right, I have to eat my vegetables first, right? Like I had to play Flash Hulk when that was out. I had to play Blue Farm. I had to play Rogsai, right? Like these decks that are meta, I played those too because if I don't know how to play a good deck, how the fuck am I going to beat a good deck,
Ooh,
right?
okay,
If
okay.
I don't know how to tackle any of these things,
Right.
like if I don't understand what the best decks are doing right, then how can I attempt to mimic that pattern? How can I attempt to counteract that pattern? Right? It's like saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm holding the sword and I'm ready for you to come swing at me, but I'm also going to be blindfolded because I don't know what your sword technique is," right? And like so like that's just you're going to get stabbed, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
But it's a big part of it is like being ready to learn, right? Like do the homework, eat the vegetables first, right? Play Blue Farm for 5 minutes, be like, yeah, this is boring as hell, but I get why I'm bored as hell,
You heard it
right?
here first. Blue Farm is broccoli. Okay.
Bro, look, like look, I like drawing cards and I like putting a breach on the stack as much as the next motherfucker, but like, yeah, it's a broccoli ass deck, especially
Oh.
nowadays when people are just like, my entire game plan is that I mulligan for a Ristic study, and you're like, wow, you done it, yay!
Ooh.
And
Spoil.
the rest of my deck is full of good cards. Do you like my strategy? Like, okay,
I love when you
relax.
like I threw a what I do a fucking swan song at the 5K. I swan song someone's turn one Ristic study, the Blue Farms Ristic study. He's like, why would you do that? Now I'm blown out of the game and now I can't do anything. I'm like, that was your game plan? Turn one Ristic study? That's your game plan? You deserve it. But then I put a wheel on the stack later, so it's fine. And he's back in the game. And then I stopped him. Balin
Yeah.
goes Dockside Emil. So
Yeah, that's wheels do be doing that.
yeah. So like now going forward, you know, I hate to talk about the
Yeah,
elephant in the room,
yeah.
but going forward now, I feel like brewing's going to be a little harder now because it is a new meta, and you can't just go, ooh,
Yeah.
Naya, Dockside, Cloudstone Curio, Dockside, Emil, Dockside, this,
Yeah.
like because that's what made Atali Atali. Like Atali was a good ass
Yeah,
deck for
yeah.
a while because of you have dumb broken cards like that. So now
Yeah,
it's going to be a
yeah.
lot. You think Stacks is alive now? Do you think like, hey, this is a
I
viable
think Stacks is
strategy?
better. I think we lost some archetypes, and we also gained some
Yeah, like
archetypes, right?
what?
Like I can't even tell you the amount of people I've been working with over the past year who have been like, "Yeah, dude, like I think this deck is real. I just keep losing to Dockside, right?" And so like that is a
Yeah.
thing. Don't get me wrong, I liked Dockside in the format. I think it gave green red white, green red blue a lot of like a life that just wasn't there, you know.
Yeah.
Realistically, it gave these really unique 5-color decks. Like I think Tutor Chains to say is and was one of the best things to ever happen to CEDH
Ooh,
as far as
yeah.
variety from a quirky
Dude, I
deck.
couldn't agree anymore. Dexley
Yeah,
and Kinnan? I feel like Sisse
yeah,
and Kinnan, I'm okay to losing to those because, you know,
yeah,
they're unique. No other deck does that.
yeah,
Just not
yeah,
four
yeah, yeah.
color pile of cards that go together and
Yes,
I just sit back and
yes.
draw. Like, okay, you did the thing.
Mhm.
Right. Like I didn't personally like Nadu, but I think Nadu was a good idea. Let's bring this commander out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have a problem with the bird, but I also had a very high suspicion that it was getting banned due to casual for sure. Like it was going to happen. I was like, it's literally Paradox Engine, and you know who hated Paradox Engine? The people who banned cards.
Yeah, I started playing about 3 years ago, and
Yeah,
once I got into CEDH, my brother came over. He's like, "Yeah, man, they just banned Golos." I'm like, "What's a Golos?" And he's like, "He got that Kenrith and that Ur Dragon deck I gave you. Let me borrow it." So he made his Golos deck Kenrith. That's right when I first
yeah,
started. So I missed Golos. I don't even know why they banned that card.
yeah.
I mean, the card's insane, but
It because people were being boring. Is
boring.
basically
Yeah, that's what I was
the
talking about in
answer.
my thing. They're like, "Well, why is Golos banned?" I'm like, "You know how blue farms in like every pod? Can you imagine every pod there's 3 Goloses?"
Yeah. Right. And so it was that but in casual, and then everyone was like, it doesn't really matter what my entire strategy is because now I just pump 7 mana into this guy, and aren't you having fun? Like it's like no.
No,
I'm not.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Or like people that play like Narset strategies. I love the OG Narset. This is one of my favorite
Mm.
decks ever. But
That was one another big loss
oh
this today was, oh my god, that deck got
yeah, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
the deck wasn't really like
Yeah.
there anyways. So
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Jacob who's been actually like putting up top results with it all year. But yes, it was at that point where it was competitively viable, and I think it just got
yeah,
blasted. They're just full
right.
failure.
But like you
Yeah,
said, I don't know the maybe the levels yet because it is the first day of how many decks we lost, how
yeah,
many decks we've
yeah,
gained. But I mean,
yes,
It is what it
That
is.
is the
Like,
question.
we can all agree, even though me and you don't agree about the Dockside ban, we can all agree Dockside was a fucking problem. Dockside made people turn their brains off and go, I win now. And it's like, you would have never won if you could have sequenced things and do things better. I agree with that. Granted, there are more cards that Dockside could have got over, right? But this meta is
Yeah.
totally different, like you said. So
Yeah.
the last thing, so the meta's not dead. You agree. Sisei's not dead. There's definitely a couple of
Yep.
decks that are dead. So moving forward, is it just, do you think it's just going to be a Rockside Blue Farm meta, or you really think like we're going to be in a good place now? We just got to put our brewing caps on and then go forward, because I am preparing for the boil.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anyone who looks at an announcement and then has no appreciation of like we don't know what the metagame looks like, and like I don't know, I'm excited about it,
Ooh,
dude. Like I'm legitimately, I'm excited about the fact that like yes, we took our lumps today. There were things that I explicitly said, please don't do this thing. They did the thing, right? That sucks. Mana Crypt, one of my favorite cards of all
me
time.
too.
My Mana Crypt in my
Me too.
collection was my card I was most proud of. I had a Mark Teton signed white border Mana Crypt, which are super hard to track
Oh,
down. Like it was a love of mine, right?
damn.
It's dead now, and I'm moving on.
We talked about it before the pod. We need to take our
Yeah,
cold showers naked,
like
get
yeah,
over it, dry
yeah,
it off,
exactly, and
take it up the
yeah.
hoo-ha, and then let's just move forward. I agree.
And maybe that's just the kind of person that I am. I'm
You're
just like
very
a
glass
okay, yeah,
half
like
full guy for sure.
yeah, like my friend Mana Crypt just got shot in the back of the head, and I will miss him so much. But I do also have to wake up and go and just do stuff tomorrow. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
can't
I was
like
trying to see where that was going. You still have to go to his funeral. You have to tell his mother
yeah,
that his brains are on your
yeah,
lap.
right.
But after that,
I'm not going to be like, yeah, guys, unshoot him. Stop. If I get mad enough, will you unshoot Mana Crypt in the back of the head? Like, no, you got shot. Move on. Like,
rest in peace, Tupac. Shit. And Dockside's over there. Oh, uh-oh.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, he's dead right next to him. That's fine.
Oh, that's so funny. The analogy of Mana Crypt's Tupac and Dockside's Vicky. I can't get it out of my head.
Oh,
It was all a dream. Treasures.
oh no.
Oh, it's so funny. I didn't mean to talk about it, and I'll probably just post it this week or next week since we were already talking about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is hard not to talk about, right? But I'm glad we can look to someone like you that, hey guys, I play tournaments. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to
Yeah.
get over it. And it might be for the better. Who knows? Did they go a little overboard? Probably. Are they going to do anything about it from here on out? Probably not, right? How they did it was a little weird. They're not doing anything. Then they did something, but it's okay. We're moving forward. We're fine. We're alive. I got to ask you, my baby Tevish Crom. That's my fucking deck. I have signed shit in there, you name it, Japanese stuff. Is that deck dead? How do you think Grixis is besides Rogsai? Like,
The deck is not dead.
okay.
The deck got
He's right here.
fucked.
You think?
Pretty
It
bad.
was already not in a good place. He was already in the closet,
Yeah.
shivering. Oh, I'm not Rogsai. I'm not Blue Farm, but I'm
Yeah.
still good, guys. And then this happens, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, how'd I get shit on? Mana Crypt Drew Lotus is my favorite turn one play for Tevish.
Yeah.
Bye. The card I tutor for every game Dockside. Bye.
The Grixis to Vesh concept is not in as bad a spot. The idea that you can rely on Crom is pretty cooked. You know what I mean? Like we still have Mana Vault, we still have Grim Monolith, we still have Culling the Weak, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, right? Like all of these things that can kind of let you get it to Vesh out early, right?
Yeah, but
I
that
just think
wasn't
the idea that
yeah.
Crom is going to be helpful at all is just like,
Well,
he's probably,
that's when I played
yeah.
I played the deck as Turbo Tevish. I have a fucking slab Tevish right here, right? But then that's not the best strategy for the deck. The strategy was
now it is.
exactly, and that's not the best thing to do.
So
Nah.
it got hit pretty hard. Yeah,
Right.
I do think it was one of my pet decks that I think got hurt pretty bad. I mean, anything Dargo too.
Yeah, so going into the boil, like me personally, I have to ask you, I'd be kind of dumb to bring that deck like right now, like without working on it and trying and see like, but I don't want to go, you know what? I'm just going to bring Rockside. The Rockside is just better and it didn't get hit that as hard as that deck did. I don't want that mindset, but I'm just like, what the fuck do I do? You know, but again, it's the initial shock, right? Like the shockwave's always the hardest. Like a breakup.
Yeah. And
like The first day,
Yeah.
you're like, damn,
You got
was it me? Was it them? That sucks. Then you get mad, and then you get sad, and then you get
yeah,
over it.
yeah. No, I agree. And so like it's in what 2 months from the time of recording,
Yeah,
right? Something like that.
a little less than 2
Yeah,
months,
yeah. That's
month and a
plenty of
half.
time. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like things
We'll
will
do a couple
happen. I've
coaching
already worked with
sessions.
a few
Yeah,
different.
we'll talk about it. I definitely, but
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, part of me is like, damn, that sucks. Other part of me is I'm fucking excited to brew. I'm excited
yeah,
to rip my decks up. Fucking.
yeah,
The only issue I have with brewing, like, especially say we
yeah,
brew
yeah.
tonight, right? What's the
Sure.
meta gonna look like?
That's the big thing. Yes.
How
Yeah.
do I adjust to the
Yeah.
non-existent meta?
Dude, well, that was the thing. I literally called, the game store I was planning on going because I'm planning on going to Rip and Ship this weekend, right, which is up in New York, and I called them, and I was like, "Just checking in. You guys aren't doing anything crazy, right? You're just following the ban list?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Sick. Thank you." Right?
That's
Because I was
everything.
like,
Yeah.
I am so excited to see what people come up
Oh,
with, right? And if I go and there's a half of the crowd and everyone's sitting there weeping into their napkins, like, man, that sucks, right? But if I go and now there's this new format to explore and I get to have conversations all day about like, what are you guys fucking around with? Like,
right.
what's the new
Yeah, yeah,
thing?
yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be good here. And you know what? If everyone shows up with Rockside and I get clowned on and they're like, this is Rockside's format, like sucks to suck. I'm also gonna try another store. You know what I mean? Like, I
The one
think there
across the street.
is a lot of really good
Mm.
stuff. I think there is, people have been saying X, Y, and Z format is solved for 1,000 years. I'm not going to stop
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and I think we're still going to be okay. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, there's still a lot of format to be played around with. I think we're going to be okay.
yeah.
You know?
I think I hear her coming back. I think the joiner forces. I think she's right around the corner.
She got hurt pretty bad too, though,
I
dude. I'm
don't
not gonna
know,
lie.
man. I don't know. You're just gonna just stacks and play Winota on curve with 30 non-humans out by turn 5. I don't know.
Listen, I've heard of worse plans.
I don't know, man.
If a little orky boy gets shot in the back of the head too, then I might consider it a little more
Okay,
heavily. But
okay.
like, I will be sleeving up. Well, I will be updating my Winota list at the very least,
Mm.
right? Like, I still think the deck's viable. I still think it's better in the current metagame. I think in general, other decks being slower now, no matter what, is better, right? Like other decks not having mana crypt does make slower decks better
Yeah.
because they were already kind of not playing around that play pattern anyways, right? Like a turn 2 Draenith is way more punishing in this format
Oof.
right now.
I
You know
don't
what I
know if I
mean?
like that. Ugh, I hate stacks. I know you love it. I know you love it.
I know, buddy. It's
Say,
okay. It's okay.
we'll talk about it later.
It's a safe place. It's a safe place.
I'm in my happy blanket. Where's my happy blanket? Yeah. But all right, man, that's about all the time we have for today.
Hell
Oh
yeah.
God. We're alive, guys. It's okay. I'm super excited to see what you bring, what you fucking brew. What I'm gonna fuck with some Zur. I think Esper's in a good spot, but again,
Yeah,
you
me too.
have the okay, this that oh Zur's better, sweet. It's Esper good,
Yeah.
but Lotus mana crypt, and I'm like
Yeah.
ouch, right? But we're okay. We're in a good spot, guys. Don't worry. I'm not crying. You're crying. That was another podcast. That was awesome. Thanks, Ian. I appreciate you doing this, brother. You
Appreciate
got
you, man.
anything you want to plug? Well, obviously you're the best coach in the world, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can find me over youtube.com/comedianmtg. I do CEDH coaching full time if you're interested in getting that next step up. If you're interested in retooling your decks now that the sky has fallen on, on top of you, feel free to come
let's
find
do a
me.
session tomorrow, dude. Me and you're like, all right, maybe next week. We're both spitballing each other, but you're the coach.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, uh. All right, that's Comedian MTG. We are the Doom Fools. Thanks, guys, for listening. You're awesome. We're out. See ya.
Bye.